All right, back to this. I'm actually recording this in the morning-ish because I wanted to get more progress done in this. So I'm not recording a longer roads today, just this. I don't know how many more I'll do. Likely one more, maybe two. I don't know. It all depends on how much progress I'm making, where the story goes, because we're kind of at like an open end right now. Like we were going through a bottleneck when we were going through Selene City, because ultimately we knew it would cap off with a battle against Tane, which was what happened in the previous part. I did all the sort of exposition stuff the part prior, but the actual battle with Tane was in the previous part. But yeah, so now that we're through that, it's kind of open. We don't really know what's going to happen. Granted, I guess there are a couple of things we do know is going to that is going to happen. And both of them revolve around the Infernal Cult, right? The first is that they said that they were going to go after the Rain team leader, because that was one of the people who was like destined to, I guess, join them or whatnot, right? Because that's kind of what they're referring to, right? They said that kids would never join them, like kids being us, Nora, and Damien. Obviously, Damien doesn't really count now, given his current circumstance situation, right? So they were mainly referring to us and Nora. So at least, but earlier when we initially heard that, we didn't know who the Rain team leader is referring to, right? But I actually thought it was referring to Audrey, and that was like alluding to her return, which I still hope she's not dead, right? Like I still hope they bring her back. There's no way the first person they would like legitimately kill off would be the like a cult leader, especially after the reveal of her being Damien's mother or whatnot. There's no way. But anyway, but after our after we beat Diana, she revealed that her boyfriend, which is what, the 7th gym leader? Yeah, the next gym leader, he has a Rain team. So ultimately, the Rain team leader is referring to him. So we know that the Infernal Cult's going after him. And then sometime around the same, just around the same time, they're also going to like the mountain base or whatnot, which we saw was or just looking at the map is, I'm pretty sure, referring to Rose Crater and Rose Base or whatnot, which that was in Hone, I'm pretty sure. So this region does a really good job of incorporating, or this game, or the Tauren region does a very good job incorporating a lot of the areas of different regions between the Whirl Islands, that, and whatever else we'll see. So yeah, I mean, but again, like I said, we're coming out of a bottleneck, so it's kind of like open, and that's why I want to make like progress or whatnot. So yeah, I mean, there's really like nothing, at least like besides that, I have no clue what's going to happen for like the near future of this game. Also, I saved right here, and I was like looking more into what is it, Tesseract, and Tesseract, basically you need to know like preemptively like which areas to do it in. So what'll likely happen now is I'll never actually do anything regarding Tesseract like while recording or whatnot. I'll ultimately do that when I go back to like areas I've went through to get extra stuff, like extra deltas or like items or whatnot. Because if we use Tesseract now, and I showed this in the previous part, right? Like it just, nothing happens. Like you need to know where to use it in order to actually use it. Also, yeah, so there's no what is it? Do I have a max repel? I should use a max repel though. But yeah, so presumably, because we saw the reason we had to go to the okay, so we still have one on. But the reason why we had to go to the Dragon Rooms to begin with was because the area for the next route was blocked off. So presumably it's not blocked off anymore, given, you know, we beat Tane. Honest to God, I was worried they were going to kill off Tane. I would have been so disappointed. He is my favorite character, really. Yeah, he really is my favorite character. The Perfection Cult's my favorite cult. I was so worried because like that's how the situation was like turning out, or that's where it seemed like this. I guess that's where we use Tesseract. Oh my God. So that's got to be where we use Tesseract. I mean, I guess, because I was wondering, I'm like, how are we going to know when to use Tesseract? But I mean, I guess if it's literally just going to be like the white mist, and this is actually very similar to the mist we saw from Tane when he tried to summon the Great Univant Dragon without knowing its name. Like, or that was like its preemptive stage before it got summoned, like the sort of mist of the Univant trio, like the legendary dragons or whatnot, before it took its form. But yeah, this is just like a miniature version of that. But this is definitely where you use Tesseract. I guess that's good. I'll come back to that later because I'm actually pretty sure that's a Delta Pokemon, and I want to like ensure I get the best ability or whatnot in like a decent nature, and I'm not gonna just soft reset until I get that. So yeah, so I guess that's pretty interesting. So it's fairly obvious like when we would use Tesseract. I guess that's good though. But yeah, I mean, jeez, yeah, but I mean, but there's two sort of forms of Tesseract, right? It said white allows you to travel through time or something, right? And then ultimately it's what? Red that allows you to send objects through time or something along those lines. They're like two parts of Tesseract, and the white mist is only one of them. Okay, that's just back down to Route 13. Where we need to go. Also, is my team healed up or is like my team dead? Okay, my team was healed up because I needed to get all the items. But yeah, there was originally a sign here blocking passage. But now that we've beaten Tane, of course, that's Yarn. Oh my God. Thank God I'm recording this because I was contemplating just going on like otherwise. Yeah, I was like, wait a second. We step through there and just like get teleported. At first I thought it was another Darkrai cult like incident regarding the guy who got sacrificed somehow being alive like as a Zork and transporting us to different dimensions. But yeah, that's Yarn. Like I just see the light. I had to like squint. But yeah, that's Yarn. We haven't seen him for a while. I mean, we know he was going after, or he was at the very least like, he was going to the location where the first augur got the crystal, right? Or at the very least, he thought he figured out the location. It wasn't confirmed, but he thought he figured out the location where the first augur may have gotten the crystal. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess that's where he is now. And also, it doesn't say place, it says palace. I'm looking at the region. This has to be in, like, tucked away somewhere. I don't think it's in, like, a town or city. Like, definitely not. It's got to be tucked away somewhere on the map that we won't know until, obviously, we need to go there, right? Until the story, like, calls for it. So that's really interesting. Yeah, we haven't seen Yarn for a while. I mean, it really has been a while, but that's interesting because we were always keeping up with him, right? Like wondering what was going on. Because we were wondering during the whole Audrey incident, it was like, oh, Yarn, again, he's obviously going to, where he thinks the first augur may have gotten his crystal, right? Is that safe from Audrey's plan? And I guess, well, now, given he seems to be in, like, just a completely like bizarre area, likely that would have been the answer. So like what would have been funny is if Audrey succeeded, like Yarn got another crystal and then he just comes out and the whole region is flooded. Like that'd actually be pretty funny, but such an odd place to have built anything at all. So this is on the map though. But again, like I say, I think it's tucked away. It's got to be tucked away somewhere, right? Like this can't be like in a town or city. I can't believe people can live out here. I guess we won't even know. We won't ask questions, like ultimately, because again, we'll figure out when the time comes, right? Like when we need to be here. Why is there a temple here of all places? Let's see. Our guest of honor has finally arrived. Who the hell is that? Who's that? Is that the guy from the end of the second climax? I mean, I don't remember what colored text he had. I think it was red, so that at the very least matches up. I don't know who else it would be besides the guy in the suit at the end of the second climax, because we knew that he was somehow in control of Mauld and Damien, despite Rukra being the one to sort of turn them into their half-human, half-deoxys state. So presumably it's that guy, right? Someone who's like Torn, or not Torn, that's the region. Yarn was the one who was stating, I think I may have figured out where the first augur got his crystal from. And if that's the case, there may be a Tauren-wide conspiracy greater than us. I don't know. I actually never connected the dots before regarding that. But that may be referring to whoever this guy in a suit is. Because he is, first off, we knew he was somehow in control of Mauled and Damien, despite not being the ones to, like, convert them to their, like, half human, half Pokemon forms. That was Rukra. And then he also is the red text. So we know that matches up. I'm pretty sure that's the guy. Let's see. What is this? Show yourself. Can I actually see as opposed to a blip of light? Who on earth are you? What do you want? So Rukra, or no, not Rukra. Yaren, he just like shows up here like on a whim and like they were expecting him. That's a pretty bad situation for Yaren if he's like, huh, so I guess I was right about a torn-wide conspiracy. Let's see. You're the one behind all this, aren't you? Yeah, so Yaren, that's very interesting. So Yaren, he seems to be on the verge of discovering, like, because again, the guy we saw at the end of the second climax, haven't seen him before during the entirety of the game. Like we hadn't seen him before at all during the game. He just showed up then, like just presumably just crawled out of the woodworks. But apparently Yaren was sort of on his trail, or at the very least on track to like sort of finding him, like ultimately figuring out what's going on. Like he may have sort of had a hunch on, you know, okay, all of whatever events that are going on way too coincidental. There's got to be someone behind all this. And presumably, you know, well, it wasn't even like he found them, right? They said they were waiting for him. So it's more so like he fulfilled his end in order to get to them, right? So me behind everything. See, what could you possibly mean? I've been researching. I know where the first augur Adams. So the first augur's name is Adam. So it's definitely not us because we're the female player motto on this, right? So definitely not us. No, so we aren't the first augur. That disproves that theory. Because if you remember, there was a decent amount of there was a decent time or amount of time during the game where we thought we were the first augur, or we may have potentially been the first augur. But this effectively disproves that. He's like, I've been researching. I know where the first augur Adam's crystal came from. And then, yeah, it's presumably this place, wherever he is. So, yeah, that's really interesting. That just entirely disproves that theory. So, but ultimately, it still comes down to whether or not the guy in the suit is the first augur, right? Because presumably that's who he's speaking to. I've looked into Persephone's past, which led me to Zenith in the Infernal Call. Okay, so he's so it actually wasn't like he found it out on a whim. It wasn't like he found the location out on a whim where he just found a random piece of paper. It's like diary entry from first augur Adam. This is where I found my crystal. It wasn't like that. He ultimately needed to look into everything, every sort of aspect of the Torn region, piece together the pieces in order to figure out where the crystal may have came from. And ultimately, we know that there's a guy already there who's been waiting for Yaren. And that's ultimately likely the guy in the suit. And that would make even more sense regarding the theory that he is the first augur, because, you know, obviously, if he did get it from there, he would know where it is. Like, if the guy in the suit was the first augur got the crystal from that location. So, and he is the first augur, so we know where it is, right? And what he can do. Because we know the Infernal Cult ultimately has Groudon, right? And they've had it for a while. And that sort of coincides with our theory of Zenith not being the founder, but just being the current leader, having inherited the Infernal Cult, like Persephone may have had to the Darkrai Cult, right? In all of it, like everything, all of it ties back to you. So we know who it's not even about a location, it's about who he's speaking to. And again, that sort of goes back to our theory of the guy in the suit being the first augur, if he is speaking to that. Because again, remember, we haven't seen the other person, right? We're just thinking or speculating, like theorizing that he is the guy in the suit at the end of the second climax, and that he is also the first augur. So you've certainly done your research. Let's see. Are you cultists trying to catch Giratina? What? Like, what do you mean, are you cultists? Like, what? Like, presumably speaking to one person, right? What does Giratina have to do with all this? We didn't even know Giratina was in the region. How many people is he speaking to? If he's speaking to one, how would he be like, oh, you're a cultist? Like, no, that's a dumb assumption, Yaren. Like, obviously he's greater than that. But who is he speaking to, right? we thought it was the guy in the suit, but this is making it seem otherwise. If there's like cultists, right? Let's see. No, we might look the part, but we're anything but. That's got to be the guy. I don't know. Like, please, like, show who he's speaking to. Like, you've been playing us like pawns. You've been playing me like a pawn. So, yeah, Yern, he's been going on this quest, you know, to save the region or whatnot. Presumably, if this person really is behind everything in the region, he likely allowed Yern to find the scroll on purpose to summon Rayquaza, so that Yern could ultimately piece it all together and make his way to where the first augur may have found his crystal. And if, you know, the guy in the suit is the first augur and he's speaking to the guy in the suit, then ultimately that would like pretty much confirm that, right? But we still don't know who he's speaking to. I feel like that's what we need to know in order to like figure this out. But yeah, because he was saying like, are you cultists? How many people is he speaking to? Who is he speaking to? That's what we need to figure out. Actually, I know you don't want to hear this, but you weren't part of my plans. You're a minor nuisance at best, a bit part. Because we knew that sort of Yern, he held a special position. Like, Yern's special, right? Given he's the second augur and the leader of the Sky Cult, right? So he has sort of two parts to that. So it would be hard to manipulate, like, unless you were directly manipulating Yern, it would be hard to sort of control his actions, given he has his sort of own agenda, presumably creating like a utopia under himself or whatnot. So like that actually kind of makes sense, like regarding this guy's like, oh yeah, you actually weren't a part of our plans, but you didn't like directly interfere, so we just let you do whatever. So honestly, I think that's a compliment to Yern. Like, Yern should feel complimented there that this guy had control of practically everything in the region but him. Because Yern was straight up saying, you know, like, whoever he's speaking to, he's like, you're behind everything, like, in the region. Like, presumably every single event in the region, they were behind. Like, given there's this, like, he even alluded to this with Persephone, right? You know, if what I think is true is actually true, there may be a torn wide conspiracy bigger than everyone. And this is what he was referring to. This is sort of that confirmation, like this person or whatnot, whoever he's speaking to, that they're behind everything. And if anything, like I've said, that should be a compliment to Yern if they're just straight up like, oh yeah, you weren't a part of our plans, but you didn't directly interfere, so we just kind of let you like do whatever. It shows that like everyone was kind of controlled by them but Yern. Granted, this doesn't necessarily mean Yern can do anything about them, but still, at the very least, it shows, okay, he was like the one person who wasn't being manipulated or like controlled by this person, right? Or this guy. My intention was for the Infernal Cult to eventually overthrow the first augur and secure the crystal for me. That's interesting. Because again, right now we're just assuming this is the guy in the suit, right? We were assuming he was the first augur, right? Especially presumably, you know, if they're in the location of where the first augur is, right? Or the location of the crystal. But then again, it's like, no, I don't, is this guy really, first off, we need to know who he's speaking to, right? More than anything else. Like, even if it is the guy in the suit, like, we ultimately don't know whether he's the first augur. Because this is making it seem like no, because like, okay, I wanted the crystal for myself, so I manipulated the Infernal Cult to overthrow the first augur, right? And then that begs the question, but then that brings back the question of the prophecy, right? About how ultimately the hero chosen by the mystic Pokemon who would go on to defeat the cults would eventually betray their friends and join the Infernal Cult. Like, let's say let's say this is the guy in the suit and he is actually the first augur. Let's say he fakes his sort of demise or whatnot, or he tries to manipulate the Infernal Cult into overthrowing him. Because again, we know it's not too outlandish for an augur to work for the cultists. That would sort of, in a sense, fulfill the prophecy and ultimately regarding what happened instead. Because again, we don't know what happened to the first augur. We just know that he went missing. We don't even know if he's dead. We've been speculating that whoever the guy in the suit is, he's the first augur, right? But that may not be true. So, but no, you just had to interfere, didn't you? Because we know Yern, he was always looking after he was always like sort of pursuing the title of augur, right? That was always his end goal. like he created the Sky Cult before he became the second augur, and that was sort of like that was always its purpose, right? To sort of have a cult to manipulate to try and get him into the position of augur. So ultimately, if the guy in the suit is the first augur and he was simply trying to, you know, fake his own overthrow or whatnot to secure the crystal for himself. Because, like, obviously, you know, if he is the first augur and he does have the crystal, he needs to use it for the public's benefit, right? But let's say he fakes his overthrow, then ultimately he can use it for whatever he wants. If, like, the public thinks he's gone missing, right? He can appear as a completely different person and use it. Like, say, and if anyone questions, he's like, oh yeah, I just took it from him, right? Because he's missing. Well, ultimately, while just still, you know, being the same person, if he had, like, let's say, a change of heart, join the Infernal Cult. But ultimately, like Yern, like we said, he was always after the position of augur. He created the Sky Cult solely for that purpose. And we should always bring it back to that and how he was always after the title of augur. So ultimately, that interfered with this guy's plan. So yeah, not only is Yern like, did this guy not control Yern or not manipulate him, but Yern was actually kind of a thorn in his side. Granted, not to the point where he would ultimately like need to be dealt with, but because that would obviously, you know, potentially leak everything, presumably for the guy who's speaking right now. But yeah, that should be a compliment to Yern, if anything, that, you know, everyone else but him was being manipulated and controlled by this one person, but Yern was actually kind of a thorn in his side. That should be a compliment. Like, you just had to play the edgy anti-hero, did you? Oh my god, now he's just roasting Yern. Like, he's like remember Yern's speech to Persephone about being like the chaotic good and like ultimately creating the utopia at any means necessary? Like, the ends justify the means type of guy. And whoever he's speaking to is just like roasting him now, saying like, you're the edgy anti-hero. You have like, I had a plan and you just, I don't know, having these ridiculous ambitions got in the way. You're evil. Yern calling someone evil. Okay. Because here's the thing, Yern's smarter than this. Like, again, I feel like this isn't something we should sleep on, how ultimately, you know, this guy who Yern's speaking to controlled and manipulated everyone in the region except for Yern, who was actually a thorn in his side. So Yern's a smart person. Yern should know saying you're evil here just like does nothing. Like, he should know like this is a waste of, like, presumably he only has, you know, a certain amount of time to speak and interact with this guy. He should just know saying you're evil is just a complete waste of a sentence, right? And I guess this brings back to like, this ultimately goes back to like Audrey's or Tane, even Tane's, now that we at least know Tane's plan. How would whoever Yern's speaking to deal with that, right? Like, Audrey's plan was a lot more severe than Tane's. Like, this guy, his plan with Tane, he could have been like, oh yeah, I crossed the name out on the scroll, so there was no possible way he could bring back the Great Univin Dragon and threaten me. Okay, that's reasonable, but how do you deal with Audrey's plan? I guess, in a sense, he may have manipulated Rukra in order to create Mauld or Damien. Or, well, I guess only Mauld then, right? He may have manipulated Rukra into creating Pokérus, or at least injecting Mauld with Pokérus without Rukra knowing it somehow. And that gives him control over Mauld to deal with Audrey, which we saw was what happened. Because again, we're just assuming the person who's Yern's speaking to right now is the guy in the suit, but we don't know that still. Like, I'm surviving. Okay, is this guy like dying or whatnot? Like, surviving for what? How does this affect his like life force? Like, if he's like dying ultimately, because this implies that, you know, basically he's doing what he needs to do to survive, right? Manipulating and controlling the whole region, all of the cults, gym leaders, Elite Four champion, presumably everyone except Yern is required for his survival. So it's like, is this dude really surviving if that's the lengths he needs to go to in order to keep on living? Like, I mean, let's see, stay away from me. Don't make me break the crystal. Can I actually see the place? I don't even see the crystal. I just see the top of Yern's head in fog. Like, we don't know. Please show us who he's speaking to, right? I really, like, if not, we're just going to assume he was the guy in the suit. Like, there's really no other assumption. and that the guy in the suit may potentially be the first augur. Like, any more than you already have? Well, so he was referring to the crystal shard. I thought he was referring to another crystal he may have gotten from, because presumably he's in the, well, now we know it's a palace. Presumably we know he's in the palace where the first augur may have gotten his crystal. So presumably there are other crystals. That was ultimately the assumption. So Yern, but apparently the crystal shard still has some significance. Like a third of the crystal still has some significance. And then also, if this guy is the guy in the suit, if who Yern's speaking to is the person in the suit, then we know he is a crystal shard as well, because Damien took it from Audrey, you know, right before she died, right? And Damien gave it to Maud, and Maud presumably gave it to this guy. So, yeah, we know the three people of the crystals now are Yern, this guy, if he is the guy in the suit. So 2/3 of the crystals in this room, and then 1/3 is, the other third of the crystal belongs to Rukra. Nothing really happened with that yet. Because Tane, everything he did was like sort of irrelevant, like disregarding the crystal, like irrelevant of like the crystal or whatnot. Like the crystal didn't serve a part in Tane's or the Perfection Cult's plan, but 2/3 of the crystal is presumably in this room. If, you know, this guy is in fact the guy in the suit. Like, but I'll let you go. Your shard's nearly useless to me without the other two. Other two! So is this not the guy in the suit? Because if he was, he would have had 1/3 of the shard, right? Or 1/3 of the crystal shard, because it would have made its way from Damien to Maud to him, because he was in control of Maud, presumably. And he literally, the guy in the suit literally stated, okay, I have 1/3 of the crystal, like I have a crystal shard or whatnot. So is this the guy in the suit though? Because that's what we don't know, ultimately. Like, and though I didn't care for you at first, you slowly become used to, okay, that's, so it's like, Yern, he started off, you know, as a thorn in this guy's side, sort of like, he was like, what would you even call it? Like he was slowing down his, or potentially even like stopping or interfering with his plans or whatnot, when he was, you know, trying to become the augur, yeah. But then ultimately, like, given sort of everything that's happened, now whoever Yern's speaking to potentially sees some use in him. So that's really interesting. Because I've been saying that, you know, Tane and the Perfection Cult seem to be ahead of, like, the curve when it comes to the rest of the cults. I mean, Tane had, at that point, he had the whole Univin trio, the 3 legendary dragons. He has the scroll to perform the ritual to summon the Great Univin Dragon. All he needs is its name. And then Rukra also has 1/3 of the crystal shard while having experimented on Maud and ultimately, you know, mega evolution in deltas or whatnot. So, but ultimately that's completely irrelevant, because now we know Yern is the most ahead of the curve. If he's sort of coming on to this Tauren-wide conspiracy revolving whoever he's talking to in becoming a part of his plan. Like, Yern has elevated above that level, because presumably Tane and Rukra have no clue, like, what's going on, at least with this interaction, right? They don't know about a Tauren-wide conspiracy and how Yern or whoever this person is may potentially be involved. They didn't even know that Yern was the leader of the Sky Cult, as to where Persephone did. So ultimately, you know, the rest of the cults really, like even the Infernal Cult, where it's destined that, you know, the hero joins them, right? That's completely irrelevant if there's this Tauren-wide conspiracy, which at first was around this guy, but now will presumably around both him and Yern. If this, and then also whether or not that guy is the person in the suit, right? Because then we know, okay, Yern's a part of this plan now, this Tauren-wide conspiracy. Enjoy your trip home, Yern. Okay, Yern's just like, all right, I'm gonna head out. That's fine. You won't remember any of this. What? Like, how does that even work? Like, is he gonna go to Persephone's base and like get his memory wiped? Like, how does that even work? Yern's just gotta take his word. He's gonna be like, all right. But if he won't remember any of it, what's stopping him from going back? I don't even know. That's like some weird technicality stuff. We back? Hold on, can we see that again? Oh my god, that was so interesting. Because, yeah, ever since that interaction with Persephone, we haven't seen any of Yern. Like, Yern was straight up, that was the last time we saw Yern when he said, all right, I'm going to go to where the first augur may have found his crystal. And if I'm correct, there may be a Torin-wide conspiracy. So he was already onto that. And this is basically the confirmation. But what we don't know is who he was speaking to. Presumably, he's not either the first augur or the guy in the suit. Okay, let's see. Here's what I'm thinking. We know he's not the first augur or the guy in the suit, because he straight up said, my plan was to manipulate the Infernal Cult into taking down the first augur so I could get the crystal for myself. So that's basically, I was thinking he was the first augur and the guy in the suit, but both of those are disproven. That's what disproves him being the first augur. We know he's not the guy in the suit because he ultimately said, your crystal shard is useless. That 1/3 of the crystal is useless unless I have the other 2/3. Because we know the guy in the suit at the end of the second climax presumably had the crystal shard, right? Or 1/3 of the crystal. Because Damien took it from Audrey, and he probably gave it to Maud. And we knew that guy was in control of Maud, so Maud ultimately gave it to him, right? So we know he's not the guy, and that's interesting. So out of the blue, during the end of the second climax or whatnot, they introduce that guy in the suit. They just pull him out of the woodworks and reveal that he's in control of Maud somehow, despite Rukra being the one to put Maud in his current or present condition, right? As well as Damien inadvertently. But this guy is presumably different from the guy in the suit. So there's so much stuff going on that we don't even know of right now. Whatever involving the guy in the suit and then Maud and Damien and whoever this guy is. In fact, our theory about the guy in the suit being the first augur could still hold true if this person who Yaren was just speaking to was someone completely different. That could ultimately be the case. I mean, yeah, this is really interesting. This game really interesting, this game. I've been saying, ever since the second climax, the game just took a completely different direction. Not even 180, because it's not even within the bounds of the original game anymore. Presumably, at this point, the cults are practically irrelevant. If there is this sort of Torin-wide conspiracy, ultimately where everything's being manipulated and controlled by whoever Yaren was speaking to, and now Yaren may ultimately be a part of his plan. That's going to be interesting. I wonder what our next interaction with Yaren will be. That'll be really interesting. That's really interesting. And ultimately, whether or not there are more crystals. Because Yaren threatened to break the crystal shard, right? But presumably, if he went to where the first augur may have found the crystal, then presumably there's more. But we don't know that. That makes it seem otherwise. That, okay, wherever he went to, there weren't more crystals. And it was just, that person or whatever who was expecting Yaren, and Yaren threatening to break the crystal shard. Because if there are more crystals, him breaking the crystal shard is irrelevant, right? But yeah, apparently Yaren's returning, without his memory. I have no clue. That's just technicalities, right? Logistics, that's completely irrelevant. But that's really interesting. God, I can't wait till we unravel this whole story. Because right now, it's completely above us. Whatever's going on in the region, entirely above us. We just have no idea. We don't even know who we are yet. Granted, we just got the confirmation that we're not the first augur, right? But we're still some important person, though. That's the question. Because, yeah, again, for a while, this is kind of what it comes back to, right? For a while, for a decent amount of time in the game, we thought we may have been the first augur. That was sort of, what's it called? That was one of the, that was sort of, not even necessarily implied, but that was an option, or that was sort of a possibility that we may have been the first augur. But now we know it's not true, given the first augur is this guy named Adam, apparently. Who I don't even think we know anyone named Adam in the game. So, yeah, I mean, that's interesting. This is really interesting. Again, this is all above us. We just need to wait till it unravels. I think ultimately the main question now is, who was Yaren speaking to? Because presumably it's not the guy in the suit, who may also potentially be the first augur, the person who was in control of Maud and Damien. Because the crystal that Damien took from Audrey, he would have given it to Maud, and Maud would have given it to the guy in the suit, right? So we know he's not that. Oh my God, this is interesting. It's really interesting. Okay, let's see where we go now. You can't expect me to just go on like, why are we walking so slowly? You can't just, okay, there's an item here. Okay, no, wait, we still have our Max Repel. You can't expect me to just play the game normally at this point, like knowing there's a conspiracy greater than everything we've known so far, right? Like, okay, battle us for experience. What the hell is to our right? I see a structure. I'm so glad to be back in the wild. It's been so long since I've battled with Pokemon Torn. Torn, so where were you then? Like, so, I guess, I don't know. Arion, 66? Okay. Not the, like, highest level. Fog. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I guess, so let's see. Ooh, well, I guess, here's the thing, though, right? We're just going to recover our HP fully, so it's kind of irrelevant. So, Smog. Yeah, we'll just Drain Punch it. Oh, we got poison, though. That's actually unfortunate. Hopefully her next two Pokemon that are weak to Jackbox, right? But I mean, leftovers, because Smog only deals normal poison, right? Leftovers will still cancel that out. Like, I'm pretty sure. Like, yeah, Smog is only normal. Oh, I forgot it was super effective. I just wasn't paying attention. It's a shitty move, non-stab, so even though it's super effective, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, the leftovers and the Drain Punch should outweigh the poison. Because it's just normal poison. It's not badly poisoned, right? Vaporeon, okay, yeah, we can just use it may actually survive a Seed Bomb because Vaporeon's fairly bulky. Okay, that's a lot of damage. This leftovers go before. Here's the thing, though, right? Even it outspeeds us. So, okay, Jackbox dies. That's actually unfortunate. So yeah, it survived with like 0 HP. That's unfortunate, but that's how it is, right? So, yeah, let's use Spicy Ice because we need to level her up. So that's interesting. This game's. I've been saying this is such a great game. Like it's hard to pull off a Pokemon game, like much less a fan game, with like this constant sort of looping, like conspiracy just above everything. We've known for the whole game there were questions. For the whole game, basically, there was this constant like thing above us, right? Like we're ultimately below whatever's going on. There's stuff going on that we have no clue. First, involving our origin, because we don't even know who we are. And then second, now whoever that guy in the suit was who came out of the woodwork is presumably in control of Vault. And then whoever the hell Yern was speaking to. Like, just, it's going to, I assume it'll all unravel at the end. It'll be like, I love that. Okay, this is such a great game. Like, let's see. So, yeah, beat them. Hold on, let me change the order real quick because I realized my order is wrong. This was the order that I used to fight Tang, but obviously training order different. So yeah, let's move Demix let's swap Demix and Spicy Ice and now swap. We can just swap Jackbox and actually we can swap Jackbox with Demix as well. Like just get it in the normal order because I'll go back and stay in this order and whatnot, right? So yeah, so there's a lighthouse there. I wonder if we'll see a place where we can use Tesseract. Like any red or white miss implies Tesseract, right? Right? I'm able to rely on my father's might of battle. I love it. I mean, you need to actually train the Pokemon, right? Like, you need to have it choose its moves. So, like, even if he, let's say, buys you, for a second I thought that was a shiny. Let's say he buys you the most expensive, most powerful Pokemon, unless you know, like, what moves to use, like, ultimately, you still won't battle effectively, right? Really? That did, like, nothing. Oh, that was a bad move. That was a bad move. What move did it even use? What stat did it make? I just kind of ignored it. Let's see. So, 3,000 experience. Nice. I'm actually getting some experience now. Let's see. First, I don't even know what stat move it used. Amnesia. That's actually, so that makes sense why Thunderbolt did so little. I'm like, shouldn't Thunderbolt be doing more? But no, with amnesia or whatnot, it's like dealing half of the damage it should have. Oh my god, and we have the lightning rod. I'm glad I got lightning rod as opposed to own tempo. That just like opens up possibilities for like different strategies. So yeah, on too far. You just need to learn how to battle. Like if you can battle and you can buy the best Pokemon, you're good. But you need to learn how to battle. That's the bare minimum, right? Like that's the baseline. So that's is that red? I have no clue what color that is. That's a Tesseract spot. And again, I'm pretty sure those are like Pokemon, right? I'm gonna go back and unless it's like something extremely special, you know, maybe I do a part where I just go back and get the Tesseract Pokemon. I don't know, because I assume that's a Pokemon, right? I don't want to like, yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I mean, I'd rather because I don't want a soft reset until I get the good, like a good ability or good nature out of whatever Pokemon it is. Like, this is a long bridge. Ooh, now we're, what's that? How do we get there? I see the TM there, but how do we? Hold on. What's the chance that that Tesseract spot leads to that Manphy? That may be what, because they're really close to each other. Hold on, let me save before I interact with that Tesseract spot. I think if you just see like a white mist or like presumably whip in time space, you wouldn't normally interact with that. Hold on, let's so do I just stand in it? Okay, yeah, we're casually standing in a rip in time space. So presumably we need to use Tesseract while we're on it, right? So where's Tesseract? Okay, don't stand directly on the rip. Okay. It was like a warning. It's like don't stand on the rip in time space. So I'm gonna move. Okay, that's kind of a troll that we're getting counters, but hold on. I'm just gonna use a max repel because I know I'm gonna get at least one more encounter before it, right? So just using our max repel, I can already see myself gain an encounter. Like, so stand next to it then. Okay, I think that's what it was implying. But it said nothing happened though. So it's like, do Tesseract spots always work or is that not a thing? Okay, so just don't stand on it though. An item? Wait, what? Hold on, did I just like, you know, here's what I'm gonna do. Bam. So I think I figured out what it is. I think those Tesseract spots are a lot like the hidden grottos, where you can sort of pull items from them. And if that's the case, I don't want to be going around interacting with Tesseract spots because I could likely pull Pokemon from them. But I guess, yeah, now we know not to. I was hoping that the Tesseract would somehow teleport us to. Okay, yeah, let's not stand there. I was hoping somehow the Tesseract spot would move us to here. But yeah, it seems it's a lot like the hidden grotto mechanics, though. And if that's the case, again, I really don't want to interact with them then. So yeah, this is like a weird path. Like, what's that Manphy? Oh, there's an item here. Can I grab the item, please? Thank you. Or the TM. That's what I meant. Let's see, Thunder. That's interesting, but not likely going to use it. I already know. I can already see myself missing a billion times. This is a trainer, right? I guess. Battle. You dare to walk in front of me? Dragons? Oh, for a second I thought Tane. I'm like, is this guy going to have like the Unova trio? Oh, it's a dragon trainer. Tamer. Dragonite. Is that the first time we've seen that during the game? Oh, it's level 68. Yikes. Please kill it. Don't have like what's its ability, right? Okay, I was gonna say don't have like what's the ability? It's like the ability that reduces the power of super effective moves at full HP. It's like it has the term scale in it. I don't remember its actual name though. Oh well, I guess short-term memory. Okay, so yeah, there's like houses here. Is this actually a route? It's like, let's see. Oh yeah, let's go in the house once we fight this person or whatnot. Let's see. The name's Trainer, Ace Trainer. Devon's name, Bon. Let's see. See, Kala. More. Oh, I was about to say, that's what? Bug. Poison? Bug. I think Ice Beam is the best chance. I actually have no clue. I have no clue what that move does. Is it, hold on, let me look up this move. Is it just straight up a suicide move? Let me look that up. If so, that's such a troll. Okay, that's interesting. So Final Gambit, it kills the user and deals the amount of damage equal to the user's HP. So if I had a Pokemon that had more HP than that, a Selgor would survive. That's such a troll move. Like, that's actually a troll move. Like, that's actually really funny. Because, like, explosion or whatnot, right? Like, you can resist explosion. That deals just damage equal to the user. That's such a troll move. Like, throwing that out there. Like, I was actually like, wait a second. Why did that just instantly kill us? Like I hate, like, weird moves. Okay, that may be an issue. Like, yeah, that's an issue. Let's get Cleaver out of here. I'm not using Cleaver against that thing. Let's see. Let's use which of my Pokemon are good? I'm hoping it uses King Shield. I'm gonna swap in Demon. I hope it uses King Shield here. Like, because then I can just probably kill it with Shadow Ball next turn if that's the case. Oh, ooh, that's not good. Hopefully it doesn't have Shadow Sneak. So, yeah, and then we use Shadow Ball here. If it uses Shadow Sneak, we die. No other way around it. Like, we just straight up die if it uses Shadow Sneak. So, let's see. Please don't have Shadow Sneak. Nice. Is this going to kill it, though? Oh, that was close. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That shouldn't kill us, though, right? Even with, like, plus, if it would have used, like, Shadow Ball, we would be dead. But here's the thing, though. We have to use Shadow Sneak regardless. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, it's on, like, 0 HP. We need to use Shadow Sneak regardless, even if it does use King Shield, because we'll just kill it next turn, right? So, yeah, I mean, because, yeah, if it would have used any other move, even if it would have used, like, Iron Head, we likely would have died. Like, Iron Head, Shadow Ball, even, like, Shadow Claw, like, those would have, like, killed us. But, like, no, it had to use, like, Aerial Ace. Why would we even give it Aerial Ace? Like, if you want to give it a non-stand move, give it, like, Sacred Sword. Like, Jesus. Okay, what's the third? Or no. Oh, yeah, it is third, because the first was the Final Gambit, right? Okay, let's use Shadow Ball here. Better at least two-shot it, right? Oh, my God. Oh, special. That's actually clutch. Oh, yikes. Oh, my God, we survived. I have no clue how. But, yeah, this is going to kill it due to the special defense drop. So that's actually really nice. That's really clutch. Like, crit didn't matter. With the special defense drop, it would have died. So, yeah, I mean, so 3,000. No, it's fine. I'll go down. Dang. I mean, she did a number on our party, like, not even gonna sugarcoat it. Like, let's see what's up here. Why is there a random person's house here? Okay, let's see what's inside it. Let's say, even in case we just get, like, jumped by, like, trainers or whatnot. What's the chance this Misdreavus has an item? Okay, we miss. Okay, no item. Let's see. The legendary birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, are considered very important to the Tauren region. Every single legendary is considered important to the Tauren region. They help this region come into being. Actually, then why did the whole Tauren Kanto War happen? Because we know they're part of the Kanto region. The stories say that they protected the settlers and weaker Pokemon from wild creatures while they made a home here. Were those the creatures, Audrey? No, those were like deep sea creatures, right? Like, those are completely different. I hope they're still doing that today, protecting the underdog and helping people. This seemingly insignificant house in the middle of nowhere. I wonder if, like, there's a quest if, like, you enter his house with, like, the legendaries or whatnot, like, something happens. Oh, there's person here. There's like also tons of grass here. Let's see. I've been doing a study on people's instincts when faced with a Pokemon. Oh, I see the hidden grotto to the top left. So presumably we can grab like Delta Pokemon there, whatnot. Because I think every single grotto, but like the first and third, I think had a Delta Pokemon. I don't even need to use Close Combat. I can use Drain Punch. Also, especially 30 may be one of its abilities. No, it's not. But yeah, the Drain Punch still kills. I mean, I figured like, yeah, there's no point using Close Combat. Close Combat's for if like I need something to die, like neutrals. That's a lot of experience. Like 7,000. I don't even think much experience. Same deal with this Magnezone. Like, please don't have Sturdy. Nice. Because it can have what? Magna Pull or Sturdy? So, wait, what? What happened to Life Orb? What happened to Life Orb damage on the previous one? I have no clue. Okay, Cleaver Guru level. Oh, that was a lot of experience. Well, I mean, the experience was overwhelming. I mean, that was like 14,000 experience from 2 Pokemon, right? Okay, let's move. Wait, when did Spicy Ice get to level 69? I thought it was level 68. Okay, yeah, let's move Spicy Ice in the back because I want to train my Pokemon up evenly, right? So that's why I've all the lower levels up front. So, and granted, there are only 2 alive right now, right? Shoot, I didn't want to click that. Demix and Demon. Like, everyone else is dead. Like, or at least, well, yeah, they only are level 16, actually, Jackbots. But then again, Demon's on, like, 0 HP. What are these statues? I've always wondered about that. I thought maybe seeing the statues again, it may have something to do with Tesseract. Also, I have no clue what's to the right. But it may have something to do with Tesseract. I have no clue. Oranos Town. Okay, so this isn't where the next gym is, but it's still a town, right? So this whole business about the virus, I don't like it, not one bit. We've had scares like this before, and they've never end well. I just hope we don't have any people trying to take advantage of Tauronites again. Thank goodness we have a trustworthy person like Zachary to look up to. The only person we know named Zachary in the game is Zenith, because he was his other persona is Librarian Zachary. What? Was this like, because I'm not sure if this was in reference to like coronavirus, whatnot, right? Because when did I download this? No, I downloaded this, well, maybe, I don't know. Which version do I even have? Like, I don't know whether they added this in or whatnot. Wonder if there's an item there. I need to heal though, like give me to the Pokemon Center. Okay, so, yeah, nice. We can actually heal though, so yeah, is there a town? So I'm looking on the actual map of Torn, so yeah, the next town should actually be the gym, right? Or it should be where the 7th gym leader is, and presumably where the Infernal Call is headed. But yeah, Zachary is, the only person we know whose name is Zachary is Zenith, when he was masquerading as the librarian, right? So what are those boxes? There's a cool tower owned by Satellite Core just east of here. I hear they're having some weird electricity problems, but I'd love to work there one day. Electrical engineer is a passion of mine. I hope I could help. I have no clue what's going on there, like if anything. We used to have a leftover storage facility here, but Zachary's repurposed it. Not sure what he's using it for. It's all very hush-hush. He dumped all the junk out. It's kind of a mess now. So is there like, is the like Infernal Call base in this town and we're gonna have to like go raid them? Because I mean, like, why would Zachary be such a name here then? Because again, the only person we know whose name was Zachary was Zenith when he was working in Tira Library, like looking to learn about the prophecy. But then why would they bring it up here, especially mention that, you know, Zachary's refitting like some storage area? Is Perfection Base here? Is Zachary, Zenith, masquerading as Zachary actually a thing here? Hold on, what's that? The statue seems to be a shrine to the Pokemon League. 2E. I have no clue what this is. Listen, I can't see that, right? Like, I could go back. It's probably obvious, but I just like couldn't be bothered. Let's see what all these people have to say. I've been training for the Tour de Tour a couple of years from now. Cycling. It's not a bike race. It's a pentathlon for Pokemon. How much is Pent? 5? The first event is a Pokemon race, and so now I say they got so many cool courses now. Okay, I'll definitely crush that. My sponsorship score is like 85. I have a bit of a quest or a task for you. Well, it's less of a task, more of a challenge, really. I've hidden an item in Oranos Town, and I'm curious to see if you can find it. It's kind of close to a statue. I'm curious if you can find it or not. And if I find it, I'll bring it back to him, right? I think it's where I saw a Pikachu car flying above the region. Am I crazy? We know of the Pika Taxi. We don't know of a Pikachu car. Like, is the Pika Taxi, like, converted into, like, a freaking, like, hover car? What's the chance it's in this flower? Like, or what's the chance it's in one of these flowers? Okay, likely not. So it'll be like some random. Wait, I hear the Rubil and the Battle Frontier here in Torn. It was in one of the towns we saw earlier. I'm pretty sure it was in Rogan Town, right? I can't wait. I've always wanted to try that out. It was in Rogan Town, right? If from what I recall, it was in like one of the desert towns. I'm never gonna find that freaking item. I met my fiance at a fair here many years ago. We still haven't taken down the decorations yet. There's still banners all over. I guess good for you. Hey, you're a trainer, right? Why don't you take this? It was useful back in my competitive days. King's Rock. Okay, that's actually kind of nice. I'll probably end up selling it though for money. So because all my Pokemon just have leftovers. Just the residual HP recovering is just so good. Mom says I can't go out and play with my Pokemon. You know who else is, well, not even mom. You know who else's stepmom said that? Damien. And look what happened now. He's a human Pokemon hybrid. What's the chance that Skyrim has an item? I'm a huge fan of the geology of the Tauren region. Did you know a Dayrin town is built over a dormant volcano? That's right. Mount Rose erupted thousands of years ago. I'm sure you can find traces of lava if you looked hard enough, but I wouldn't. The Infernal Cult's been seen around there because we know the Infernal Cult. Well, now presumably the Infernal Cult may have a base in this very town, but we know the Infernal Cult's after the Rain Team leader, 7th Gym, and then whatever's at Mount Rose. So presumably the Infernal Cult's going to be everywhere for the rest of like, or at least for the other places in the region to visit, right? Because there's not that many more places in the region we need to visit. Like, let's take a look at the deck snap here. Like, there really isn't that many more places, at least within the region we can visit, right? Like, we're at Oranos Town. Here is Amphrite City, where's the 7th Gym, and then here's Dayrin Town. And that's like the only other places we have to visit besides, you know, the freaking Pokemon League 4, right? And then also this place, Gaia Town. We need to get there at some point, but yeah, I mean, so presumably the Infernal Cult's just going to be like an issue for the rest. Oh, what's going on there? Hold up a second. There's a lot of people there. Is Zachary talking? Is Zenith? Okay, let's go around. Please go around. Go, 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 go. It is Zachary. Oh my God. It's Zenith. Zenith as Zachary. So he is an influence because, again, I was like, the only person whose name is Zachary is Zenith. But he was presumably just a librarian in Utira Library. But apparently he has considerable influence in this one town where, given his renovations, is likely where the Infernal base is located, right? My fellow Tauronites. It's good to see you again. I miss Oranos Town so much. It's such a beautiful place. But here's the thing. This guy isn't the second augur. He's not Yarn. So how much influence does he actually have then? Like, because we know, obviously, Yarn, despite being the Sky Cult leader, he's the second augur. So, like, the leader of the region. But Zachary is just presumably, like, nobody, right? Like, but because we're talking about Zachary persona, not Zenith persona. Obviously, Zenith, he's a cult leader. But as Zachary, we just knew him as a librarian. You know, maybe he's like, again, mayor of this town. Seeming as though he has considerable influence and like able to like move tons of shit around, right? We've missed you too, Zachary. Who's saying that? Oh, is that Mrs. Parker? How are your kids? They're wonderful. Jonathan is, I'm sorry, I'll let you get on with it. No, he wants to have a conversation here. Thank you. I have something very important to say to all the friends here after all. I'm not sure how many of you have heard, but there's been a nasty sickness going around Torrent. Something to do with Deoxys. So it wasn't a coronavirus reference. That was just something that was always in the game. And it's revolving around, you know, well, it presumably revolves around Mald and then from that revolves around Rukra and the guy in the suit. So apparently that thing is spreading then. The human, like Pokérus is spreading among humans. Damn, that was a 200 IQ play from Rukra. Like, just like, what is it? Like, what's even the word? Just like create a pandemic. Like, Rukra's like, all right, I'm going to make a big brain. I'm going to make a 5-head move here. Just like create a pandemic in the whole region. Like, what does he have to gain out of it? We won't know. Like, I understand. Let's see, we don't know how bad it is yet. It might even be fatal, but we've seen some of its effects, and believe me, you do not want to come into contact with it. Because then that bodes the question of like, okay, how are the other cultists dealing with this? Because like, yeah, Zenith, he's like, why is this random like freaking disease spreading around? Like, this is presumably like Zenith has like no clue what's going on with that, obviously, as Zachary right now. Yaren doesn't even know it exists probably because he's wherever he was regarding the guy who's supposedly manipulating and controlling everyone. Audrey's dead. I mean, I hope she's not, but as of now, she's dead. Persephone, presumably, again, has no idea. The only people who really know would be Rukratane and whoever that guy in the suit was. And again, we assume he's not the pause, stop. Like, so let's see. I can actually